Good morning. It's Saturday, January 27th, and this divided nation called the United States, which are no longer united, is looking at the looming contest between two presidents and two Americas. This matchup that will likely be between President Biden and the former President Donald J. Trump is about a fundamentally broken nation, a nation which has different visions of itself. This is only the second time in the history of the United States where a sitting president would be challenged by a former president. Now, each of these two guys has sat behind the desk in the Oval Office and did whatever had to be done. They made deals with foreign leaders, and they ordered armed troops into combat. And they both know the feeling of being one of the most important people on the planet. So when I look at this, I see this clash of the two presidents from profoundly different countries. It's the president of the blue America versus the president of the red America. And I don't know how many of you have thought about this country this way, but it's clear to anybody who follows anything that is going on that this country is rent asunder. So this showdown, assuming it comes up because President Trump has a lot of legal problems, is a battle between the ideology of two different sections of the country. It's about race and religion and culture and economics and democracy and retribution. But most of all, it's about identity. It's about the vastly different visions of America led by the two presidents. And there's nothing that's close to them except for their age. Mr. Biden leads an America that, as he sees it, embraces diversity and democratic institutions and the traditional norms, whatever they are. And they consider that government at its best is something that's good for society. While Mr. Trump leads America, in his view, the system has been corrupted by dark conspiracies and undeserving people who are favored over hard-working everyday Americans. And when you look at the disparate groups in this split, you can see that one group of people is more educated and wealthier than the other. And I believe that's another factor that plays into this game. And when we look at red America and we see the minimum wage in most of those places at $7.50, you have to recognize that the people who live there haven't made really great strides in their life. So they cling to their religion and they cling to their views. And then they're looking ahead. And the people who are voted on in those states have done very well for themselves, but they haven't done enough for the people in those states. So maybe I'm showing a little bit of prejudice toward Biden in this statement right now. But that's the way I see it. Now, these divisions in this country, they're not new. They can be traced back to the Constitutional Convention, but they have never reached the levels that they reach today. I remember as a kid, Republicans and Democrats working together. I remember great Republicans who took office and did wonderful jobs in New York when I was a kid growing up. So it can be done, but Americans see the world differently. They each have their own self-vision, self-reinforcing vision. The January 6th attack on the Capitol was either an outrageous insurrection or a protest, a legitimate protest that may have gotten out of hand, but is now being exploited by the other side, and it has turned great patriots into hostages. I find that representation unbelievable. So it should come as no surprise to you that these two segments of our great nation, our once great nation, have radically different views on guns and abortion. And this universe, which is so concentrated in these 44 states that sit in one America or the other America when it comes to the fall election, means that there are really only 6 or 7 battleground states that will decide the presidency. Think about that. It means that most of the people who vote in this country will have no real effect on who wins the presidency. The presidency will be decided on the 6 or 7 battleground states, and that is where all of the major campaigning will take place. You might see a candidate here or there, but if you're not in one of those 6 or 7 battleground states, you really don't count anymore, because we saw that President Trump has run twice for the presidency, and both times he did not win the popular vote. And in this last election where he lost, he was begging for 11,872 votes from Brad Raffensperger in Georgia. So that's what we're facing coming up. So right now in this country, 63% of Democrats see Republicans as being immoral. And the Republicans say that 72% of the Democrats are immoral. And in 1960, 4% of Americans said they would be displeased if their child had grown and tried to marry somebody who was not of the same political persuasion. And now it's 40%. 40% of the public is being very unhappy if one of their children married somebody from the other party, being a Democrat or a Republican. So we're going to have a nation of people who fall in love with each other and declare themselves to be independent, so that one or the other set of parents is satisfied that they're not marrying out of their political persuasion. Is that not madness? I have never heard of these things before. So here's the bottom line. Nowadays, when we think about America, we make the essential error of imagining it as a single nation, a marble mix of red and blue people, but that's not the way it is. And America has never been one nation. We are a federated republic of 2 nations, the red nation and the blue nation. It's not a description, it's a geographic and historical reality. And when you look at the reds and the blues, you see a lot of distinct differences. Among them are minimum wages and college education. So this country, despite its greatness, is in terrible shape. And I do not see in the present presidential candidates any one of them capable of closing the schism, as they say. So I leave you with that this morning. A nation in turmoil, in pieces. Have a great day. Bye.